right. Yay! I love technology. Hi, everyone. My name is Mandy Mitchell, and I am coming to you live from the Pacific Northwest, where today we're getting weird snow, which never happens here. I have been drinking and sharing ketones for a little bit over 3 years now. I am super fired up, probably more so now today than I ever have been in my entire Prove It career. And I am super fired up, especially because I get to work with and talk with and share with all of you with my good, amazing, wonderful, beautiful friend, Katie Rollins today. And we're going to go over, really, quite frankly, two of my very favorite topics that sort of just mesh really well together. So we're doing it together. And that is a little bit about attraction marketing and social media. And we're going to keep this basic, just so, you know, if you're like, oh, those are two really big topics, how am I going to get all of the information that I need? They are two really big topics. And this could be lengthy. We're going to try not to keep you here all day. They are two big topics, but there's really great places that we can start from. So that's the important thing that we want to do with you all here today. We want to give you some really great foundations for, like, what even is attraction marketing? What does that mean? Why is it important? Why is it such an important piece of our business? And really, how do we use social media effectively so that we can master this art of attraction marketing, right? So those are really our goals for you today, is like, what even is this and how can social media help us do it? And again, this is going to be, you know, what we hope is a pretty basic level. And I've been doing this for a really long time, but I'll tell you what, I've got a whole bunch of notes and I have a whole bunch of blank space to take notes too. So as I kick this over to Katie, I'm going to have my pen and paper in my hands, and I hope that you do too. Even if you feel like, hey, I kind of already know this stuff, I promise you I'm going to learn something from Katie, and she's going to learn something from me as we go back and forth here. And they're going to be really great reminders for me too. Oh, these are things I can talk to my team about. These are things I can teach as my team grows, right? So think about what you need to know, and think about what your people need to know, right? What your tribe needs to know. This community that you're building, what are they going to need to know too in the future? So I'm super excited. Katie is going to kick us off really with giving us a basic foundation of, like, what is attraction marketing? What does that mean, and why is it so important? So Katie, new mama Katie, she has such a beautiful, like, glow. I feel like I need to turn my ring light on brighter just to keep up.
Well, thank you. Thank you. About once every 5 days with a newborn, I throw myself in the shower and make myself presentable. So here we are today. No better reason to do it than to show up today on our virtual playbook day. I am so excited to be here today alongside Mandy. Legitimately, these topics that we're talking about today are our favorite. And I will give you just a quick backstory. You know, the whole concept, understanding of attraction marketing, if you had given me that term 7 years ago, I would have been like, that's weird. I don't get it. I don't understand what that is. Like, I'm not this like billboard. I'm not a salesperson. Why am I even learning about this? So I kind of want to break it down for you a little bit. And I think that, you know, with everything that's going on right now, specifically, it's for me, I was like, wow, look at this. Like, I will tell you that there is such a large opportunity for us as a whole, as promoters, but I think really as people, as human beings, to intentfully connect with other people right now in a virtual social setting online. Especially with current events right now, like, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and where, depending on what you're following, who you're connected to on social media, it can look very scary, and here's the thing, it's a shift and it's a bit of a decision. It can be a really inviting place. It could be a place where you get to show up and you get to feel like you're connecting with other people, and you're getting to be amongst people that you really enjoy reading some of their posts or watching their stories on social media. Like, it's a choice, and it's something that we get to offer people when you are starting to look at attraction marketing from the viewpoint of, all this really is, like, to consider this lesson today an onion, okay? And I'm just going to peel back some layers for you, and this is nothing crazy. Attraction marketing is truly just deciding how you would like to show up on social media. What would you like to project? Who would you like to attract into your zone of your friendships, of your connections? How do you want to show up and be that light for other people? That is the beautiful part about social media, is you can look at everything you've got going on and decide, okay, so am I showing up as someone that's inspiring or educating, or giving people a place where they feel like they can really come and just kind of engage and talk about things that are going on that are fun, inspiring, educating, to them? Or am I someone that's just kind of showing up and throwing some ketones on my feed every now and then and just sitting back and waiting for people to come flocking to us to buy them? Because I don't know if you've ever done that before, if you've just posted something where your outcome is, how can I sell some stuff today on Facebook? And then you notice that, like, you don't have a mass of people that come flooding to you. The reason for that is because we're not necessarily putting any thought process into how am I inviting someone, inspiring them, educating them, helping entertain them. If our outcome is those arenas, is that arena, is that feeling that you want to project to people, it's a whole lot easier from a business perspective to really connect with those people, to attract them into your space. And the cool thing about social media, before we kind of dive into this, I'm going to give you some great things just kind of keep in your mind when you're signing on to Facebook, when you're signing on to Instagram, when you look at your business as a whole, how you want to show up on social media is, you know, I love how Brian talks about the 1,000-day mentality, because I think that is exactly the way that we have to start looking at our business if we're not already. And this ties into social media as well. It works it's so congruent with everything that I have learned about how to show up on social media, how to utilize attraction marketing. Like, it's something that we're already here doing. I'm just curious, by show of little hands or thumbs up or whatever in the comments, how many people are on social media every single day? And it's okay if you're not, but I'm curious how many of you are on social media every single day. If I had more hands like octopus arms, they would all be up right now. Okay, I'm gonna be here anyway, even if ketones weren't the case. And specifically right now, if you consider how many people are going to be on social media just due to the fact that they're kind of in their homes, they're just trying to change things up. So it's kind of like, at this stage, because we're going to be on social media anyway, our future friends, our future business partners, and people who are connecting with us, they're going to be there anyway. What a great time for us to really start honing in and practicing and, you know, building strength in that muscle of just showing up consistently, and that 1,000-day mindset when it comes to creating an entire vibe on social media. Having that 1,000 days makes a lot more sense than expecting that you're going to post for 30 days and your entire life's going to look different in a business perspective because you did it for 30 days. It just doesn't work like that. And being that we're all going to be here anyway, this is the perfect time to really look at it like that. So I want to give you just a couple things. I am a visual person as well, and I'm a great student. I love taking notes. I love just understanding things conceptually, but I also have to be able to understand more of like examples as to why this is going to work for me. So social media for me, when I realized it not only is an incredibly strong platform and tool for us to grow our essentially kind of our business, but also be able to connect with new people, I had to consider, I needed to figure out what I was going to show up as on social media. And the easiest thing for me to do that was I started to look at my Facebook profile, my Instagram profile, and whatever platform it is that you're on. I wanted to look at that almost as a storefront. Okay. Now, how many of you have walked down, like you've been in a busy city before, or you've been in like cute little quaint cities that have like those little boutiques and everything and little different stores all over the place, and you're walking down the street and you can literally walk by a storefront and you know what's in there. Like, you actually have an understanding of what this store is about. If they've really thought a lot about it, like they even give you a feeling when you're walking by it. Like, you know exactly what you're getting when you walk by that store. Okay. Now, if you walked by that store and there is a single thing over here in the window, and then over in the other window, maybe there were like two things on the floor over there, and you're just like, and one of them was a toaster and one was a sweater, you're like, I'm confused. I don't know what I just walked by. Okay. Instead, what we get to do when we are creating our storefront for people, and that store, I just want to give you crystal clear understanding here. That store is not the ketone store. It is not your Prove It store. It is not Shop Keto. It is not a stock photo. It is literally, when I'm walking by Mandy Mitchell's storefront, do I get a sense of who Mandy Mitchell is? Do I get a feeling from Mandy? So consider your storefront. This is a great time for you now to look at your social media with the the goggles of I'm here to learn, I'm here to get better, not at all judgment, like release all judgment of where you are at this stage. If you feel like you've never known what to do on social media, fantastic. You're going to learn that today. If you feel like you've given it a go and it didn't really work out for you, fantastic. Don't worry, throw that out the window because we're going to give it to you right now and you're starting over today. Okay. So your storefront, you want to know what you're putting in those front windows. Okay. And it's, again, like I said, it's not going to be a bunch of products. It's not going to be, all business and all this. That's a part of your store. However, we're going to get to decide what that is, who you are, what do you love. And I believe Mandy's going to touch on this a little bit more later on too, but understand that your social media is your storefront. Now, here's another thing too. And if we want to look at social media as a store, because I just like using this as an example right now, if there was something that you knew that you needed to buy and you went to that store and 1 out of 5 times that you went there, it was open, the other 4 times it wasn't opened, at what point would you stop going to that store? At what point would you be like, okay, well, I don't know what the deal is with that place, but like they're never there when I'm expecting them to be. And to me, that was so important because once I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a storefront. I'm going to give people an energy and a feeling when they come to my store, aka when they scroll on my profile of whatever platform it is. But that being said, are they going to see a post from me today and then they're not going to see one for 16 days? No, like especially in the very beginning when I was utilizing social media as a brand new social media person, I knew I need to show up every day. It's consistency. It's the same thing with our business. It's the same thing with your DMOs. You don't do your DMOs, 4 days in a row and then not show up for 12 days and expect that you're going to see some massive momentum. No, you're essentially going from like pushing that boulder up the mountain. When you stop and let it go, you now have to figure out the momentum to get it back going again. It's a lot harder. So it is about consistency. It's about giving the passerbyers the exact energy and understanding of who you are in that store. And then it's about creating relationships too. The thing about social media that I think is so powerful that I think I didn't understand in the beginning, and coming from like a teacher standpoint, how can I help other people understand this? When you're showing up on social media and you're doing it with an outcome, which is really important here, it's not just about scrolling, like just signing on to social media is not showing up for your store in terms of how you're building connection for your business. That's not attraction marketing, just signing on. You're showing up consistently, but you're there to build relationships, and that's going to take time. It just is. How many of us, I'm curious in the comments, how many of you have had people reach out to you about ketones that they're like, hey, okay, so I'm just curious about this. I've been seeing you post about them for 6 months or a year. Like I have people, I know Mandy does too, and anyone who's been showing up consistently on social media specifically, you've had people that have reached out to you that you kind of forgot you were friends with, or you didn't even realize that they were still following you, or that they were actually watching some of the posts that you're putting up. And you realize it's because for enough time as we show up consistently, when people are in the right space to finally be ready to receive ketones or talk about ketones or talking about the business, they're going to come forward at that point. But again, it's that consistency, and you got to give that time for those relationships to build, for them to feel comfortable, to feel safe. Like, hey, at this point, I know Mandy, and I'm curious about what these ketones are that I keep seeing her every now and then, or like every Friday, I think she talks about. You know what I mean? So storefront mentality is so helpful when it comes to your social media and to just attraction marketing as a whole. The main things I just want you to take from that, it's consistency, it's about building relationships, and it's giving clarity. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more later on about how to really pinpoint about exactly what you're going to be putting up there. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to shift over because I know that there's some absolute mega stars who do such a fantastic job, who have built their business starting up with the face-to-face engagements and building in your local communities. And don't take the gas off of what your foot off of what you're doing that's working for you, for sure. I want you to, but I will say, and I know people who are fantastic at those face-to-face initial connections and building your network. I've heard people say this, like, so I don't really need to do social media. I'm not really thinking about it because of XYZ. I'm good at this, blah, blah. And I'm like, good, that's amazing. But consider this now. Social media is a thing. People are on it. Okay. And so anytime, like Jessie Lee was talking about connecting with people in her neighborhood earlier, like her goal is getting them connected on her social media for a reason. And so now if it's kind of like you get to give people the backdoor view of your store when you connect with them, if you've met in real life. And so it's kind of like I like considering my social media my virtual business card almost without it being a business card. When I connect with the new neighbor, with with the new neighbor down the street who's a mom, our sons are in the same grade. When we connect on social media, even though we met face to face, she now gets to see this entire world that I've created. That's really my world that I've intentionally shown in front of people on social media. She gets to see all that without me having to tell her all of that. We are brand new. She literally is going to learn so much about me in that short time. So that's why it's really important to understand that no matter what your gift zone is, where your strengths are, social media is a powerful tool. It just is. In this day and age, especially when there's a lot of stuff going on, so people are going to be on social media way more. This is the time to really consider that, like, you can reach more people, and it also gives you validation. Okay, so anything that you could have been saying face to face about ketones, or maybe you guys just met at a keto life party and they're leaving and now they're connected with your social media, and they go home like and they start the scroll game and they're like, damn, this stuff is amazing, like that girl is cool, and oh my god, no, this is what she was telling me about. Like, it's pure validation. That's why social media is so powerful. And when you look at it as that virtual business card, no matter what your gift zone is, it's a really, really powerful tool to have in your pocket. So here's a little bit of the general like consensus. I talked about this when we were talking about just the storefront in general, but it truly is about creating a connection when you're utilizing social media for attraction marketing. And that's where I want you to just kind of let go of the expectation that the end goal of social media or showing up on it is to get volume in your back office. Like, I understand specifically when you are starting up in any kind of position, like if you are a brand new promoter and if you've never been in this industry whatsoever, I know that you're kind of like, okay, so how do I make some money doing this? And you should feel that way. I understand it. Like, you're doing this for a reason. It's a business. If we're going to utilize social media, you got to figure out how to find this balance between the two. But the first step to that is just understanding social media is about creating connection. I heard Mandy Mitchell talk about this last year or 2 years ago on a training. She's like, guys, like, it's out there. People understand now that when they go on social media, there are people utilizing it to sell products. Okay. No one is opening up Instagram or opening up Facebook and saying, I can't wait to buy something today. That's literally the last thing that they're doing when they get on these apps. Okay. And so if we're showing up to it because we're like, how can I sell some crap today? Like, it's just, you're going to come up against so much resistance. And sometimes it's good because you learn what works and doesn't work. But I want to save you some of those steps and just let you know that our outcome for social media is creating connection. Our outcome on social media every single day as you're showing up there with that 1,000-day mentality is, as many people as you know right now. Understand this. The people in your network, which just means the people that you know on social media and in real life, you only know the amount of people that you know today. If you want to grow your network, if you want to make more connections, that is the goal on social media. It's creating those connections. It's not figuring out how to sell boxes of ketones. It's not figuring out how to mass recruit people into your business just by signing up on Facebook that day. One does not go before the other. So it's creating a space where, as people are walking by your storefront and they're really getting a feel for who you are, it's creating a space where they feel excited to engage on the things that you're putting up. They love it when they see something in the real world. Mandy and I were just talking about this. They see something out there and they're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about, Katie, I was just thinking about you because I saw this posted, or I was in Target and I thought of you. Like, what are the things that you're choosing to put out there to help people think of you? You're doing that intentfully. And a really cool rule of thumb, anytime, and Mandy again is going to talk about things that we are posting and things that we're intentionally putting onto our social media in a little bit. But I like to really think about who I was, who I am, and who I'm becoming. When I'm showing up on social media and I'm writing something, or I'm taking pictures of something, or I'm going to do a story on there, I'm sharing that to the person who I used to be, or I'm sharing it to the person I am right now, or the person I'm becoming. I'm not sharing it to someone, these people are going to come across my social media anyway, because it's just how it works, but I'm not sharing it to someone that I have no desire to be, or I'm not sharing it with someone that I have absolutely nothing I relate to. Like, if I didn't have any children, I'm not necessarily, writing up posts trying to speak to a bunch of moms, because I don't personally feel like that's, and this is just me, I can't authentically connect with people that I don't have things to connect with them for. So I'm not trying to fabricate things. I'm putting who I am, who I'm becoming, who I used to be. I'm speaking to those people and when I'm sharing things. And so the cool thing about when you're doing this is these are always going to fall into the categories of what inspires someone else, what educates them, what entertains them, and what creates the ability for someone to feel as though they can engage with you and they can engage with the other people that are in your comments or following you, because you're all very like-minded people. And all of that like-mindedness is on purpose. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that here shortly. I feel like that's, let me know in the comments if that makes you feel good about understanding attraction marketing, like what we're doing it for. And I know we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts here, but do you have a better understanding and feeling of like how we're showing up and why we're showing up on social media for our businesses and how this is such a powerful tool? Just let me know in the comments if that makes sense to you. And Mandy, is there anything you think that I kind of glazed over, or I feel like I just went on for a really long time? So I'm going to zip it and let me know if there's something that you want to contribute.
No, it was so good. I took tons of notes, and it's funny, I actually have the notes that we were going to share. So the fact that I'm still taking notes means you even elaborated further. So I love that. And I think it's really, this is such a fun way that we're combining these two things together because there's so much overlap. So a lot of, and I saw you doing it like, well, and Mandy's going to talk about this too, man. And you're going to hear me say like, well, and as Katie said, so it's going to be really neat to overlap both of these things together. Real quick, Katie, and this may be something you'll want me to cover on my side too, but all these people that are going to come across your page eventually, right? I love when you said that you're speaking to the person that you were, the person that you are, and the person that you're going to become. So powerful. I love that. What's a really great way, and maybe this is something you'd like me to share too, but for people to just, find those people. Who are those people? Like, let's say you just showed up today and you're really just brand new to social media. Where are you going to find more connections, right?
Yep. This is actually something I'm for sure going to deep dive into later on when we get over to the hacking part. I think it's important. And maybe I'm trying to make sure I'm actually not just like getting too deep into something that's coming on later. But I think before you can figure that out, you got to sit down and figure out who you are first. You know what I mean? Like if you are a teacher, if you are a parent, if you are a student, if you are a nurse, if you are coaching a local sports team for kids, like who are you? And then because after that, we're gonna for sure share with you the tools on how to go find those people, because that really is kind of the simple part. But that's where you will get a lot of clarity. Sorry, that's my son screaming. You will get a lot of clarity on who you're posting to and sharing to and wanting to create those connections with when you figure out first who you are. And that's going to require peeling back those layers of your own onion, asking your husband, asking your best friend, asking your neighbor. When you think of me, or like if I tell you what's something that you see and think of me, like ask those people that know you really well what they think of, or what they think of, you know what I mean? Like Disneyland. Yeah. I would know that you're Disneyland. I would know that you love wine. I would know, you know what I mean? Like, I just know that about you because I know that about you, but sometimes we don't realize what we love or what we should be sharing about. Does that help?
Yep. Perfect. And I've actually got some things on my notes too. So that'll be a good merge of our information. So if you feel complete with that, I feel complete with that. I think you were amazing. And I'll probably ask you to make sure I cover all of my bases too. But I would love to just kind of switch gears a tiny little bit. It's really not even much of a shift because attraction marketing and the basics of using social media to grow your business really do go so nicely hand in hand. And you're going to hear me say a lot of things that you already heard Katie say, but I'm going to give you some very specific directive, almost do's and don'ts but we're going to focus mostly on the do's because I'm just a positive girl, and that's what how we're going to go after this. I really want you to think every time I give you any tip or pointer or directive, I really want you to keep that storefront in your mind, and I really want you to keep that virtual business card in your mind. Like, what are people seeing? And Katie's right. When we were talking about this earlier today, I was like, dude, the minute they shut down Disneyland for coronavirus, my inbox blew up on Facebook and Instagram and text like, Mandy, did you see? I mean, it was like, I didn't even need to be watching the news. Every time there's a meme about wine, and, you know, people are sticking it in my inbox. So, you know, that was almost unintentional until I realized that's who I was. And now it's very intentional, right? So there was this part of my history in building a social media storefront, in building my virtual business card, where that was very unintentional. I just like to go to Disneyland and I live in wine country. But once I realized that's part of who I am, it became something I could intentionally focus on and post about and connect with people over, because if that's who I am, that's who my people are. So every little step that I give you throughout this, I just want you to be thinking about that. And I'm actually going to maybe help you go through a little exercise if you're not really sure what you are yet, to help you figure that out, because it is really powerful. So let's just talk about basics, super simple stuff. And again, if you already know this, please just pocket it somewhere, because you're going to be helping other people through this process too. So I'm going to go over some basic stuff, because these are things that I didn't know were important when I first got started, but they actually really are. And I'm going to try and do this with my phone here too, so you can see. I don't know if I might have the lighting up too high, so we'll see. So first things first, y'all. Again, storefront business card. When someone goes to check you out on social media, which, let's be real here, that is what I do every time I meet somebody. I'm like, who is this chick? Who is this dude? I'm just looking them up on social media. I mean, heck, even if my kid comes home from school and says somebody's full name, I'm like, let me see what kind of kid this is. I will go look them up on social media to see if I can check them out. So it really is a storefront for you. So that's what people want to see. So first things first, like your profile picture, I want that to be you. I want it. Now, this is me and Jack. Jack is super important to me. He's my favorite human being in the whole wide world. If you don't know who that is, that's my husband. So he's not a stranger. So it's me and him, but it's my face. You can see my face. I'm clearly the focus of this picture. Jack is kissing me on the cheek if you can't see it. So it's me. Someone can come to my page and go, oh, yep, that's the girl that I met in the grocery store. They can recognize my face. That's also really important, because when you're messaging somebody back and forth, that's the little icon that they see in their messenger. And it's way more comfortable to message back and forth with a human being than it is with a dog or a llama or a cat or a cute pig or a picture of your shaker bottle, right? So it's personal. You want it to be you. And I suggest, no, actually I don't suggest, I am going to require that you have a similar quota, a similar rule for your cover photos as well. So obviously I'm speaking about Facebook specifically when I talk about cover photo, but that should be something that represents you, what you love, your family. Again, I mean, mine, I'm pretty sure 9 out of my last 10 cover photos are a picture of my family and I at Disneyland, right? We just are Disney people. So this one is us in the Star Wars area when it just opened. So, oh, look. And then the next one was that one, right? So it's almost, oh, and then the one before that was that one, right? But it's me and my family, and we're somewhere fun. We're doing something great. It's something that's important to me. And so that's what I want your cover photo to be too. Those are the first two things people see when they open up your page. So it's important that they represent you and what you love. And in this case, you can even kind of get a feel for what it is that I love, right? If you just happen to scroll through those, you know, I like Disney. So those things are just simple, but really, really, really important. There's a little section inside of your page too, that is your bio. Okay. It's a great place. I'm trying to make sure I do all of these things this is what you should do. Okay, I'm a mom and I say no a lot. So it's really hard for me. Sometimes it's a challenge for me to make everything, hey, this is what you do. So it's a great place for you to just give bullet points about who you are as well. So if somebody doesn't scroll past this very first picture, which just has my about info, just tells me where I live and where I'm from, what does my bio say about me? Mine says that I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a lover of wine, I'm a CEO of my life. That's sort of I wonder what she means by that, but doesn't really say, hi, FYI, I'm a network marketing mom, right? It just says I'm the CEO of my life. And then I have high vibe and low carb. So it means hopefully it means people know I like to eat healthy and I have really good energy, right? So it's just an overall thing of me. It's not salesy, but you have to look at this as your business card. Like Katie was saying, this part is like, what do people know about you? Doesn't mean that's a place to put a link. It just means this is who you are. Sounds super basic, but I tell you what, if you audit your page right now or audit people inside of your team's page right now, you will find that that's something a lot of us need to improve upon. So I think that's just a great place to get started. Another thing, Katie talked about, like, when she's thinking about all of the pictures that she's going to share on social media, whenever she's thinking about who she was, who she is, who she's going to be. And we're going to get into how to figure that out in a second. But first, I'm just kind of giving you some basics. Oh, something exciting just happened on our thing. Let me turn that off. That's the pulse. I love that noise. Have your pulse app downloaded. So the next thing is just making sure that your pictures are well lit, right? It doesn't mean you have to go out and purchase a ring light, which I have here right now since my office is super dark, but stand in front of a window, make sure you have good lighting. Get a ring light, get a small ring light. And the reason being is simply this: there's a whole lot that goes into attraction marketing, but visual appearance is one of those things. So if your bathroom is dark and dirty, that's not a great place to take a picture, right? So we want visually appealing things. It's that same thing that Katie was talking about with your storefront. You wouldn't want to walk into a dark, dingy store. You would want to walk into something light and bright and airy. At least I would. I mean, maybe you are into dark and dreary. I don't know, and that's okay too. But for the sake of this, we just want well lit pictures. Remembering that you're like trying to make connections with people, right? So really pictures of your real life, like who are you? What does your day-to-day life look like? And this is something you can audit for yourself regularly, and full, complete transparency for yourself, right? So I do this very often, and I find myself sometimes going, oh man, that was like 5 posts about Pruvit and ketones in a row. This is not so good. People think my children died, right? Like, I need to make sure that we still have children, we still have dogs, I still have friends, I still go to dinner. Sometimes my kitchen is messy and I have to do laundry, and those are all real things that are happening inside of my life, right? So you want to make sure that you're expressing what's really going on in your life, and make sure that your posts have this nice flow of like, who is she? So one of my very favorite mentors in this space is Stephanie Milky. And one thing she said is, like, if somebody goes like this to your page, 1, 2, 3, 4, who are you? Well, I will tell you right now that in my 1, 2, 3, 4, there's a picture of me and my daughter. So I'm a mom and I have a teenage girl and we like to go shopping. That's what we were doing that day. There's a picture of my face so people can see my face. I'm planning on redoing our closet, so people know that I'm looking for some closet upgrade updates. Oh, look, there's me reading a book. There's me drinking wine. There's me with my ketones. Here's me with, I love shirts that say stuff, right? So it's a lot about me, 1 or 2 things about Pruvit and ketones, but people will be able to figure out who I am just by going 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, if you've lived in a space, like Katie said, like sometimes she doesn't, maybe she isn't thrilled with what she had on her page, but she doesn't go back and delete it. There's a reason why. I give my business card, my actual physical business card, to people all of the time. And if they don't call me or text me or email me right away, my assumption is they're still hanging on to it, right? So my page is still something that somebody is going to hang on to. I wouldn't delete it. And remember that people are only going to scroll 4 or 5 times. So don't worry about what's already happened, but let's if that's not what your page looks like, if it doesn't represent who you are, moving forward, let's do that, right? I have a whole bunch of notes, so apologizing for the ums and the looking down. I hope y'all still love me. Also, look, I just said again. I'm not an ummer either. This is really stressing me out. So the other thing I just want to make sure everybody remembers too is that social media is just that. It's social. So when we talk about the do's, what are the things that can be on your page? And this is kind of overflowing with my next little topic here, which is like how to even create content. Like, show me a show of hands in the comments, which, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be so many of us. How many of you ever sat here in front of your phone like this? What do I even post? I can see Katie. You can't see her because we have it on speaker only, but she raised her hand right away. Like, I have like started and stopped and started and stopped. And to pull a Michael Rutherford, who for some reason loves to tell you that he works from his toilet a lot, I have caught myself in the bathroom for like 30 minutes and been like, why am I in here this long? I just came in to pee, right? Like, but I'm still in there sometimes thinking like, what do I even post? So it happens even to those of us who are regular and consistent, and we're going to get to like the what do I even post. But a good thing to remember is just that it's a social network. It was intended to be social, and you'll get the most benefit out of using it for your business if the content you post encourages people to be social with you, right? So it doesn't mean if you don't get interaction on a post that's bad. Katie and I were talking earlier, like every once in a while I have a post and I'm like, how is it that only 3 people care about this post, but 35 cared about the one before that and 325 cared about the one before that? I just don't understand, right? Again, neither one of us delete. We assume that it's being looked at like a virtual business card. But if you can create content that people can engage with, and it becomes a social place for you, it's just going to bode well for you in the future, right? The more people that interact with you, the more people see your stuff. So, and that's a whole different topic that we won't get into, but just know that, right? It's a social platform, so use it to be social. Create content that people will interact with, and find content you can interact with. Another really important thing for me, and I know Katie 100% agrees, and I think if you ask anybody who's really adopted social media as a way to grow their business, is that it doesn't matter how amazing and incredible our marketing team is and how beautiful the little graphics that come out on our Pulse app are, and they make me so giddy. And like our little immunity boost pack, I was like, oh, I want to frame it and put it on the wall. It's such a gorgeous piece of marketing art. That will never, ever, ever in a million years be on my social media, that post, that stock photo. For that same reason that Katie said earlier, like, people don't wake up in the morning and come to their Facebook page with their wallet in hand, like, I can't wait to buy something today, right? The ads, the things that attract people, and that's what we're talking about here, attraction marketing and the basics of social media, which are essentially, in this situation, one and the same. People are attracted to real life you. So real life photos. So you'll see pictures of me holding my cans of Keto Up, not stock photos of Keto Up. You will see me pouring ketones into a glass. You won't see me posting the pictures of our packets of ketones from the Pulse, right? Does that make sense to everyone? So we aren't in the business of, we're not running a newspaper ad, right? This isn't a magazine. This is a storefront. And so it's real life things that people could virtually touch is what I want you to think about, right? So that's the best way for me to explain that. And hopefully that makes sense. Kate, you can't see her, but Katie's shaking her head in the other screen over here. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Good, good, good. Another thing that I really, really encourage, and this goes with the concept of just making sure that you're constantly creating curiosity, so people have to ask you what you're talking about, right? that's a really powerful tool whenever you are sharing about ketones or even just your life in general, right? We're talking about how to make things social, how to get people to engage with you. So dollar signs, how much things cost, whether or not something's on sale, those are things I would encourage you to avoid and stick to just things like, this makes me feel so amazing, I'm so excited, I feel so great, let me know if you want more information or anything like that, but not specific dollar signs, nothing like that, right? Same thing I would say to, and I'm sure Katie agrees, when you're talking about what this opportunity has done for you, which should be a part of what you share, right? This is a business and it does great things for people. So what's happening to you? Katie said who she was, who she is, who she's going to be. A lot of that has to do with our community and this opportunity and what this business has done for her too. That's another place to not necessarily share dollar signs. As a matter of fact, please never share dollar signs. That's a place I can't say positively. I just have to say, don't do it, right? So again, these are just basics, but they're important. And sometimes the most important things come from the basics. That's why we're going over all of these. Katie and I both agree too that sharing before and better pictures are really powerful, but that they should be done sparingly. And here's my reasoning why. And as I wrap up the next section here, which I just have a little bit more, so hopefully y'all are sticking it with me. Maybe she can share her thoughts on this too. But ketones are about so much more than fat loss, number one. And number two, it's really easy for me with all of the messages and pictures that I get regularly on a daily basis. It would be so easy for me to just constantly share those with people. But I have to always go back to what Katie said. What is my storefront? What is my virtual business card? And over 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 of before and better pictures is something that people can tune out, right? You want to keep people guessing a little bit about what part of your life you're going to share so that the before and better picture has a bigger impact. If it's something that you do all the time, you're not going to notice it. I mean, hi, I have teenagers. So I say something and I say it again and I say it again and I say it again and I say it again. And it's like, I'm not even saying it. Any other parents out there? It's probably the same for toddlers. It's just that was a long time ago, so I don't remember, right? So it's the same kind of a thing. I want different things all of the time. So I would share those sparingly, right? Especially because we just have so many other benefits besides just that. And then I would just say, and if you are going to share before and better pictures, quick note, please, for the love of all things holy, left to right, like you're reading a book. Our mind or top to bottom, if you're doing a top and bottom, our mind puts things in that order regardless. So if you do it in the opposite direction, you might be sending the wrong message about what ketones can do for you. So just a little side note there. And then my biggest suggestion really when you're talking about these things, just these basic kind of do's and don'ts, is just audit yourself and do it regularly. So I do it every few weeks. I'm pretty confident that I know what I'm doing, but when in the beginning, when I didn't, I would every couple of days, I would audit. If I'm a brand new person visiting my page, what do I see? And then when I wasn't so sure, I would ask someone else to audit. So I would also encourage you to find an accountability partner, maybe somebody that you're working with who's helping you grow your business, and just ask them, or somebody that you trust, that you like you look up to, and like maybe they're just part of your support line and you're like, hey, your social media is killing it. Can you please just audit mine? And just have them audit and check this out for you. Like, that's what we're here to do. And it can make a really big difference. So, and then be open to the feedback. Okay, so Katie, before I move on to the next, just how do we actually create content? Because we said this was going to be intense. This is like an actual playbook. It's like 6 hours. I feel like it won't be, I promise, but I feel like it could be. We're going to try and wrap it up soon, I'm sure.
I don't know. I can talk about this all day. I think people can learn about this all day and would like to. So we'll just keep this going for 4 hours. I hope you guys just go put on a diaper and drink a bunch of ketones and just don't leave your desk, okay?
And nobody has toilet paper anyway right now, right? So it's fine.
Perfect. Okay. Something that I think if we're in, I just forgot about this and I remember this is really powerful too. So how many people agree that our Prove It page, between the doctors going live on Wednesdays, between the value and education that we have that gets put out on our Prove It, it is. Okay, so here's the thing. I just want to give you perspective because sometimes you gotta stop for a sec, take a step back and look at things from above. We feel that way because we're bought in already. We completely get it. We know ketones are the bomb. We know when we see Dr. Heather sit down and go live, or we see a Keto 101 that gets posted and you see Josh Perry's face, you're like, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait, right? We feel this way. People who are not bought in yet, they don't feel that way yet. It's not because our information isn't amazing. It's not because our Prove It Facebook isn't awesome. We have not built that credibility with them yet. So something that I've seen that I just want to give you perspective, that page is a tool. It's part of our ACE, the Track, Connect, and Enroll portion. And that's going to be given to you. You're going to understand more of why this is such a powerful tool, that Prove It page. It's a connecting tool. You bring people to that. You tag them in those videos. You send those in message to people. Something that we do because we're excited, and it's something I used to do too, trust me, and it's just about getting better and recognize it. If we take that and share it directly to our personal Facebook, something gets a little bit lost. The people that are following you who maybe have no buy-in yet with ketones, when they start seeing that showing up on our profiles publicly, they're kind of like, oh, that person sells something. Oh, that person sells something. I'm just telling you, this is like point blank, the absolute truth. And it's only because they haven't gotten the buy-in yet. That page is such a strong connecting tool that on the back end, you're connecting people in Messenger to those videos. You're sending them links to those videos. You're tagging them in the comments section over there to answer questions, or you answer their question privately and then say, hey, I'm going to tag you really quick in something so you can watch it as well, to build that validation. So they understand from that point, oh, that's powerful. Oh, that's powerful. But very, very rarely, I want to say if almost never, is someone going to just scroll on your Facebook, come across that video and be like, well, look at this. I've been wanting to buy something like this every single day. I mean, every now and then you'll get lucky. But what it will actually do is potentially alienate the connections that you've been building with people as they've been showing up to your social media, daily, regularly, as you're showing up to it. So I just kind of want to put that out there because we have such a powerful Facebook. I freaking love it and I use it all the time, but it's not something I'm putting up on my profile or posting on my Instagram, like directly, because I just don't want to alienate the connections that I've been building. If someone's not ready yet to receive the value and I'm like forcing it in front of them, it can do the opposite of what the intention is. So I just wanted to throw that in there because it's a strong to-do that I've just learned through experience.
I love it. And it's a good reminder too, for all pages like that. If you are trying to create a storefront of who you are, sharing other storefronts might actually confuse people and lead people down a rabbit hole. So I also that's just a little thing too. To love that. Thank you for that reminder. This next little section that I have before I kick it back to Katie is actually going to be super short because I feel like we've sort of already talked about a lot of this, but I just need to make sure that we're all on the same page. So in the comments, if you're like thinking to yourself, remember how I said earlier, like wine and Disney was an accidental thing and then it became intentional, right? So I'm gonna actually mix up my keto cream almost every single day in a Disney mug, and that is intentional, right? But earlier in my life, it wouldn't have been. It would have been an accident. Now it's intentional. I had to create a list of who I was so I knew what I needed to share. So in the comments, as you're watching this, it just brain dump. That's a word that both Katie and I use. I sometimes think Katie and I are the same person, that we both use frequently. But I just brain dumped. I just made a list. Like, who am I besides ketones? Because like you have to remember, I was like Mach 10 with my hair on fire about this product, about this community, about our business. Like I was wanting to shout from the rooftops. So I had to slow down and remember, like, if this isn't just about that, this is about everything else that encompasses who I am, so I can attract other people who are going to want what I have. So who am I? So I want you to make this list, right? This will help you think of things to create content about. Am I a mom? I'm a mom. So I'll just give you my list. I'm a mom. I love Disney. I love wine. I live in wine country, so it's just an important part of our culture here, right? I love food. I love, well, I don't actually love Orange Theory, but I go to Orange Theory. I love riding my Peloton. Haven't done it in a little while, so got to get on it today. Um, I love game night with my friends. I have dreams of traveling. Like, I love to travel. I like cars. I have 2 chocolate labs. I love my labs. Like, I have this big extended family. I love my big extended family. So I just started making a list, like who I am, what do I love, what are my hobbies, what are my dreams, what are some of my desires, what are some of my goals. Those are the things when I have that moment where I'm just like, what do I post about today? Well, what haven't I posted about in a little while? Have I not posted about my kids? Have I not posted about an adventure I want to go on? What's on my vision board? What are the things I'm aspiring to be? Who was I? Who am I? Who am I going to be? Right? All of those things will help you create content. So it's really good job, like Katie said, ask somebody, what do you think of when you think of me? But also, like, what is it that you love and what can you bring value to, right? Like, how can you share who you are with the world so that the world knows they can do what you're doing? That's essentially the way I look at it. So if another mom who likes Disney and rides the Peloton connects with me and we like all those same things, she's probably going to like this stuff too. She's probably going to like hanging out with Katie. She's probably going to like our events, right? We like the same ish. So we're going to be besties. She's going to come do this with me, right? So that's kind of the way I suggest, like, figuring out what it is you're going to share and then just create the habit. Earlier today, I should have done it too, but Jessie Lee held up the big sign that said set reminders. Like, if you're not at that place yet, you guys, where you do feel like you're consistent, you have to build the muscle. It takes a while. Katie and I were joking that if you saw what our pages looked like, not all that long ago, but pretty long ago, you would laugh at us, right? When I look at what I did in 2013, 14, 15, 16, leading up to this, it was nothing like what's happening now. It's that bamboo tree Brian talked about. It's that bamboo tree that Michael talked about, right? So until you have the muscle, until it's a no-brainer and you just show up consistently every day and your stories on your page, set a reminder, right? Put an alarm on your phone every single day for 1 o'clock or whatever your time is that says, make a post. Set 4 alarms throughout the day. What are you doing right now? That goes into your stories, right? Help yourself. The tools are there. We have so many tools at our fingertips, so much about technology that can help us get this done. If you don't have the muscle yet, set the reminder, because I promise you, you will hear this over and over and over and over and over again, no matter what topic you're hearing from any of the people who are coming to you through this virtual playbook. Consistency is key. And if you don't have the muscle built yet, use whatever you can to help you build it, because it is showing up daily. Just like Katie said, if you showed up in a store today to buy something and then need it again next Saturday and they just weren't there, you're going to go somewhere else, right? So it's that consistency. It's showing up every single day. And if the muscle isn't built yet, do what you can to get the muscle built, right? Set the reminder. So that would be my biggest. One more thing, we're actually going to hear about it a little bit more too. I would just say there's some other really powerful tools, and otherwise we'd be here for 6 hours, but there's some other powerful tools that you can use too to really help you create content and connect with new people and have business and customer conversations. And that's with our Freebie Fridays. That could be it will be a whole nother training. We have one already on the Prove It Promoter page. So if you don't know what that is, you can just Google, or not Google. I mean, I basically use the Facebook search bar as Google, so it doesn't matter. You can use the Facebook search bar and put Freebie Friday in there, but we are going to have an optimized one coming up that just will teach you all the different ways to use Freebie Friday. But I would get familiar with that as well. It's a super powerful tool as far as creating content and creating business conversations, and we'll actually follow up with that later this weekend. But whatever the case may be consistent. So if you're going to do Freebie Friday, do it every freaking Friday. Don't ever quit. If you're going to put your stories up 4 times a day, put them up 4 times a day. be consistent. And then Katie's going to give you, here's what's going to be super cool and why I saved a whole bunch of extra paper, because Katie's the queen at this. So even though I already have her notes in front of me, I'm saving the whole back page for what I'm going to add down. Katie's going to talk to you really about how to take everything that we just taught you. And it's been a lot. Y'all have been hanging out with us for a long time. So it's a good thing we showered and put makeup on. That at least helps a little bit, right? Katie's going to talk to you about how to like take all of that and just like 10x it. Like, how can you take what you're doing, even though it's very basic and easy and simple, well, not easy, simple, and just 10x it? Like, how can you make it work for you faster? Well, she might.
I closed out my screen. I couldn't find Zoom anymore. I was like, oh no. Yes. Okay. Mandy, that was awesome. Straight up. Let me know if this is helpful to you guys so far in the comments, because for real, like what I'm about to talk to, which is the hacking your speed portion now on social media and attraction marketing, when you just fine tune everything that we just went through, like just consider this. You have now, with everything that you just learned, you've just primed your social media. You've just set it up so it is perfect. You literally are just going to put it into motion now. Well, especially if you're someone that's new, that's just starting up with what do I share? What do I talk about? I hope that you got some really great directions and clarity on what it is that you're going to show up sharing. And there were two things that I want to just give you too, perspective wise. Actually, three things. Just write these down. People love to give their opinion. They just love it. Okay. So things that you can post about, just ask people questions. What do they think about this? People freaking love talking about. Do you put the toilet paper? It's a funny joke right now, actually, considering where, it's on the top or it's coming from underneath the roll. Like, think of anything that someone could just voice their opinion and they're going to give it to you. It's wild. So people love to love to engage on posts that ask questions. A second thing is always I almost put my middle finger up. The second thing is always consider that anytime you're sharing something that isn't asking for engagement necessarily, that you're kind of telling a bit of a backstory or story even as to why you're posting it. Okay, because let me give you that shift. I love quotes and I love those white blanks, squares that have black text on them, and either they're funny or they're inspiring me or they're entertaining me, something like that. I could, and I do sometimes, sometimes you just put it up because you're like, this is hilarious. But very often, especially if they're inspirational or something like that, you can put it up. And you could just put it up and maybe people will share it. Maybe you'll get people that comment on it. However, if you put it up and you give a bit about why you're putting it up, what it made you feel, why it made you feel that, not only are you giving people more of an opportunity to get to know you, there's way, way, way more likeliness that they're going to engage. So it's kind of this like little trick in social media in general. Anything that you are putting in your virtual storefront, if you put energy behind why you're sharing it and you let people know, it's part of peeling that onion back. Even posts where you're just like, guys, I have this goal and I'm going to start sharing up every single day. I'm going to show up every single day on social media to share with you XYZ because it's important to me. This is why it's important to me. You're giving reason why you're posting every day. You're giving reason why they're going to want to follow you. And it almost gives you permission to start showing up every day without feeling like, am I annoying people? Well, no, you're not, because you actually shared your heart and you told them why you're going to show up for this goal specifically on social media every single day. So I hope that those things are helpful, because that for sure helped me a lot when I was trying to figure out what do I post every single day. Okay, so the hacking speed portion of this is where now you've got your tool, you've got your storefront set up, you know exactly who you are, you know what you're sharing, or you're starting to figure that out, but you're gonna just make some mistakes, you're gonna learn along the way. No one gets to escape that part. I'm just telling you, okay? So if anyone is just like, no one's liking what I'm posting, or no one's liking my pictures but my mom, well, good. That's part of growing some thick skin on social media. That's gonna happen. I just wanted to tell you that, especially if you're someone starting up. I'm not joking. My memory section of Facebook like pains me sometimes. I'm like, how is it that I had Facebook friends, and when I would put up a picture of my cute little baby that was like a baked potato 8 years ago, I'd put them up and like 2 people would like it, and one was my mom. Like, they were terrible. I'm like, well, because I wasn't using social media for networking or connecting, I was just posting just to post something. So people that I was connecting to, which wasn't very many people, would engage with it if they felt like it. And that was it. And now it's just like you can watch over the air. So anyway, this is the hacking portion, because this is what I learned how to do a couple of years ago. And that's why I feel that I've been able to microwave and really grow that engagement exponentially over the years with people. And it's not by accident. And it's so, so important that you understand too, for social media, it is so easy for us to open up, for us to say, okay, my alarm just went off. It's time for me to engage. I'm getting ready. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to open up Instagram right now. I'm going to start engaging with what I just learned from Katie and Mandy. Okay. And then what do? First thing you see, all the bubbles up top of all your friends. So you just start, literally your brain, by the way, is hardwired to do this. I just want to tell you this. It's not that you don't care about your business or growing on social media. Habits are strong. Patterns are already created. Neural pathways are there. So you just start hitting the bubbles and you start watching. And before you know it, 5 minutes gone by, 10 minutes have gone by, 15 minutes have gone by. You have done absolutely nothing to build your business. And you're just like, well, I only had 30 minutes today on my lunch break to do this, and I just wasted 15 minutes, and now I don't have enough time to do anything. So you have to get very, very clear about the time that you have to really do these tools I'm about to teach you. And when you sit down to do them, raise your awareness. Am I veering off of what I'm supposed to be doing? It's okay. Catch yourself, get yourself back on track. You may catch yourself 20 minutes where it's thumb day on social media instead of just actually doing the work. Every time you catch yourself, get yourself back on track, because after a while, you'll find that you're not doing it as much. And then after a while, you're going to be like, wow, I really, really took advantage of those 15 minutes that I had today. Maybe you're a bathroom worker like Michael, but like when he's in there, he's going to feel good. And that 15 minutes, he actually made progress, made movement in his social media attraction marketing business. Okay. So create that dedicated time to do it and don't just scroll. Mandy said this earlier, and this is the truth, and I may have said it in the beginning. Social media is about being social. It's not about getting followers and then never talking to them. It's not about making connections and then never connecting with them. That actually doesn't make sense. So if you have gotten to the point where you're now making new Facebook friends or getting new Instagram followers, if you don't go and engage on their feed and watch their stories and reply to their things, very, very rarely are they going to do it to you. And not just that, social media is a tool. This is not an advanced social media training, but I just want you to understand this. Social media is like this big computer that's always working anyway. And if you're not doing things to engage with other people, they're like, oh, this person's not social. I'm not going to show as much of their stuff to people. Like it will literally hold you back. So you want to engage it. You want to be connecting with people and you want to be doing this on purpose. So now where do we find new people? Okay, so this is where I don't want to say like, how do we get new people? Like people aren't for the get-in. That's not what we're doing here. Where can we find new people to connect with on social media? Because like I said, you only know who you know right now, right? So consider this. Where do you hang out? What are you interested in? What are hashtags that you would use on Instagram? Hashtags, by the way, if you don't know what that is, on Instagram, it's basically like the Dewey Decimal System for cataloging posts. If I put a post up of my dog and I put hashtag, which is a little pound sign, hashtag dogs of Instagram, if someone were to search that tag on Instagram, eventually when they scrolled, my post would come up. So how do you find people who have dogs on Instagram? Search the tag dogs of Instagram. And then just think of different things. Mandy's Chocolate Labs. I have Black Labs. I am a part of plenty of Black Lab Facebook groups because I think that my dogs are the best and they're hilarious. I am a part of different mom groups, mom support groups. I am a part of local groups, Crestwood, moms and Louisville moms. And like, I have been looking for, there's like so many different groups actually that I'm a part of, but like just go and find some of these groups because they make sense for you to be a part of. And when you're in these groups, like I have the Peloton, I just recently got one. And listen, this is not so I can figure out how to get new Peloton people as customer. This is because I either just purchased a very expensive bike I'm going to ride on every day, or I just purchased a very expensive laundry holder that I'm not going to ride every day. Okay. So I'm joining these Peloton groups because I'm going to show up and ride this stupid bike and let people know I'm doing it. Because if I don't do it, if I'm not in them for accountability, I'm not going to do it. But guess what? The people that are in these groups, they're very, very likely close to who I am as well. Okay. There's just so many different things. Are you a crafty mom? Join the crafty mom groups. Are you a Pinterest mom? Go find the Pinterest groups. Are you a PTA mom? Go find the PTA moms. Like, Mandy just messaged me that she sees me in those groups. And I am in there because I'm like, if I don't post a sweaty selfie, no one's going to know that I did this. I need to show up for someone. So that's why I'm showing up. So you need to figure out, ask yourself, where are you hanging out on social media? What things matter to you? If you're cooking low carb meals, what are the low carb groups that you could be a part of? Two things I want to make sure if that pertain to Facebook groups. Do not feel like joining the group that has 60,000 people is going to help you any. It for sure isn't. These smaller groups, actually, you can create way closer connections with people for sure. And I just want to save you a whole lot of embarrassment. Don't think for at any moment that you can show up in there with packets of ketones and say, hey, anyone want to try these? Or reference that you're selling anything, or reference, hey, I'm looking for boss babes to join my team. I want to save you, because you're going to get yeeted out of there super quick. It's going to be you're going to be like, that felt bad. It felt bad because you were not showing up to give value to people. You were showing up to figure out what you can gain from it, right? And that's okay. Like, again, octopus arms, if I've made these mistakes before, I've made all of them. And I was like, oh. So and it's fun when you see it pop up in keto groups. I'm going to just warn you right there. The keto police will ticket you pretty quick in there. And that ticketing is usually you being escorted out like abruptly. So you want to be daily engaging in these groups for sake of, it will keep you showing up in front of new people as you are engaging in these groups. And here's another thing too, groups, hashtags, anything, you're always giving value. Okay. So it could be that you do a post in these groups, or you're replying, you're following different hashtags and using those different hashtags, but we want to give value, right? So if you see someone that's actually posting in a group that you're in Facebook, or someone that has posted something that they use the hashtag that you're following, go look in the comment section and give some value. Like, literally reply to what they posted about and give them something authentic. If someone in the comments has commented something that you can vibe with, or that you have a thought on that's positive and supportive, then give that positive, supportive engagement to those people. You're not doing this, again, to figure out how at the end of this you can sell them ketones, or you can send the campfire video, because I promise you, if your outcome is how can I make new connections, add value, and have new Facebook friends or new followers by the end of this that are quality, that I actually have things in common with, if your outcome is that, they will ask you about ketones. It's just a matter of time. And the timing is not for you to decide. It's not for you to push. Or something else that's so funny, with time, after I've been creating these connections for a little bit, when I am now Facebook friends with these people, or I am now connected with them on Instagram, and they're liking my story, or they're engaging on my stories, or they're liking my posts, or we're chatting about anything else, it is not weird or bizarre that I'm now bringing up, have I never even offered for you to try ketones before? Wow, I'm a jerk. I'm really, really sorry. Do you even know what these are? Like, this is a friend of mine. I asked that question to my best friend. I asked that question to my sister. I asked that question to people I worked with, because we already had built-in connection with them. So like, you can create the same thing utilizing social media on purpose, but you can't skip steps. You can't do it without creating connection or engaging with them, or giving them, the feeling and understanding that you're here as their friend. You're creating value with them. So let me see here. Let me know if that makes sense so far. Freebie Friday is something that I know Mandy talked about. I will tell you, if you haven't come across that training in our group yet, go ahead and find it, because it is so valuable. And I know that she's going to be recreating it. Just want to make sure I am not missing anything here. Sharing your better story. Again, it's something that is important to do, and you can do it consistently, but by consistently, once a week, and don't feel as though it's got to be only about a physical transformation. It doesn't, for sure. Talk about, where you were in your mindset before you came across your mom juice, or where you were. Well, I used to call wine mom juice. Don't call it. Well, call it whatever makes sense for you. But like, where you were before you started drinking ketones, where you were before you found, your colleagues that you get to work with now, or where you were before you get to before you found this group of friends that you didn't have before. Like you have so many different chapters to your better story. You have a better story about product and you have a better story about the business. So write out your better story for you, all of your different chapters. And then that's something that you can show up and share consistently weekly. It's part of your virtual business card. And with time, like as you're making those connections over in those groups and those hashtags, it's inevitable that people will start to really be curious about what you're doing. I will say again, like I know that I talked about showing up every day with the intent to make these connections. You want to make sure that you're doing it and that you're tracking it. If that doesn't make anyone feel like weird, like again, this is a business building tool. So people that I am following on Instagram that I'm finding from those hashtags, or people that I'm making new connections with in groups that I really like them, I can just tell, or we're going back and forth and we're having a good time in the comment section and now we're Facebook friends. Again, if I'm not intentionally making sure I'm putting myself in front of these new people, then I'm actually not going to probably see them again, just because of the fact that the algorithm will start to kind of like shift everyone around and you're not going to see their posts. They're not going to see your posts unless you're kind of intentionally putting yourself in front of them. Mandy, I kind of feel like that was a lot, or maybe not a lot, or not enough. Is there anything that I need to like tie loose end with that you heard?
No, I think that, I mean, ultimately, this is like an actual playbook, and I think that we're going to have lots of topics like this. So, I hope everybody appreciates that and is seeing the value in spending this time together, because I'm looking at the clock and at the same time I'm like, oh, but it's so good and it's so important. So I think you did a really great job. And I love that you reminded us that we have different chapters in our story too. So I think that's something, in the past that I've been overwhelmed with when I was figuring out how to share my better story, is that I was like, but I shared it, but I shared it, but I shared it. Yes, I have shared it, but I have new people with their eyeballs on my card or my storefront every single time I share it. So there's that. And also I have different chapters. And so I love that reminder. That's a good reminder. So you can share just different parts of it too.
Do you mind if I throw one more thing in there, because I just forgot? And so this is something that I just want to give, it's someone said this to me a long time ago, and I actually heard BU on a COC call say this a couple weeks ago. Enthusiasm is a strategy. Okay, so now this is almost like, has anyone here ever had professional photos taken for any point in your life and they did your makeup? Women? No. So I have done this like 3 times in my life. And when I got my makeup put on, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like it was like loaded on, so much heavier than I would have ever done it. And every time I bring it up to the makeup person, they're just like, just trust me, when you photograph, it's going to be different. It doesn't look as heavy as it feels. I'm just like, okay. And then I see the pictures. I was like, oh man, that actually, like, if it was less, I don't know if you would have seen it. She was right. So on social media, enthusiasm is a strategy as well. Now, I'm not telling you to just be like ridiculous and obnoxious, but I'm telling you, being someone who is known for being positive, who's known for having higher energy, who's known for showing up all the time, who's known for laughing at themselves, who's known for like wanting to make people feel something that's positive, it's enthusiasm, and it is a strategy, and it will set you apart. So it's just something powerful, because if I ever feel like I'm just kind of like, man, that's like, I don't feel like people can really get a sense of like my personality from this, even though that is my personality. But like, try to take it up a little bit, try to like just the tiniest bit. I know that sounds silly, but in the comments, be a little bit funnier, or throw a couple more emojis in there, just like something that will help you stand out from the rest. Because not only will it give people a bigger sense of like who you are and your personality, but it also attracts other people who happen to be on that comment thread quietly watching. So, okay.
No, I love it. And I mean, enthusiasm is a strategy in lots of different ways. It's a strategy for yourself too. Jessie Lee talked about part of her DMO where she just gets up and moves and she's in a completely different state, right? Like it's the same thing in your business. If you are exuding enthusiasm about life in general, I always look at it like this, Katie. I just say, who do I want to attract into my business? That's who I want to be, right? I want to be someone who listens to coaching and mentorship and makes shifts and changes. I want to attract someone into my business who does utilize social media. And let me tell you why. I mean, I know we've got to wrap things up here, and we're going to do that in about 3 minutes. But the reason why I'm so passionate about this topic is because social media is a place where you can magnify your reach. I mean, it's just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, you guys. So it's why the topic, and there'll be other topics about social media throughout the weekend too, I'm sure, and there'll probably be lengthy trainings as well. And there's a reason for that. You know, if we were still in the days and stages of knocking on doors and Avon calling, unless you had the means to travel far from your home, your network was literally in your neighborhood, right? For those of us who have started our business during times whenever we're working full time, when I found this space, I was working 60 hours a week. Social media allowed me to magnify the people I could connect with. So that's why I'm super, super, super passionate about it. So whenever I get in a moment where I'm like, let's take all these notes, what do I do? Ultimately, at the end of the day, you guys, I'm just like, okay, who do I want to bring into my business? How can I be that person, right? And it doesn't mean change who I am. It means be more of who I am. It means show up. It means be consistent. It means be positive. I want to attract positive, excited, enthusiastic, happy, fire the freak up people. So I am positive, happy, confident, fired the freak up. So, Katie, if it's okay with you, because we said a lot, I'd like to just and just give us like a few simple action steps. Hopefully y'all will go back and watch all of this. If you had to like leave and take a break from us, that's fine, we understand. Hopefully we'll go back and watch all of it because I think it's so powerful. I'm going to go back and watch it and make sure I got everything that Katie shared. But I think if we can just all on the same page, come up with a few simple action steps to do moving forward. One would just be audit your page. Take the information that we've given you and just take a quick peek at your page, audit it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what grade do you give yourself? And then make some adjustments accordingly. And remember that it takes time, and you can't compare where Katie's storefront is compared to your storefront if you're just getting started in this, right? So audit your page. My next action step for you, if you haven't done this already, would just be to make that list. Who are you? Keep it on your page, make a list in your notes so that when you have that day that you're like, I don't know what to share, you can go to the list and say, this is who I am, this is what I can talk about today, right? And then I would say, because you heard Katie talk about it, I hope you heard me say it, I hope you hear this in every training you get this weekend. Consistency, 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 consistency. And don't focus so much on whether or not you're getting the response that you want now, and just know that if you keep doing it, you'll ultimately get the response that you want. So if you don't have that muscle built, if you don't feel like you're consistent, if any one of these things, and remember, you really just have to, they're all great tips, but like, if any one of those things is something that you need to work on and you need to, just set some reminders in your phone. So like, I would go into your reminders on your phone and say, make a post, share in my story, interact with my new friends, like take these tips that you got that are basic things, but so important, because it doesn't matter what advanced social media strategies you learn later, this is the foundation. So just set yourself some reminders. So I would say your 3 most important things is just audit your page, make that list of who you are so you know what you're sharing and who you're looking for, right? And then set reminders for yourself so you can get them done. Anything else we should add to that, Katie?
I don't think so.
You and I could just stay on here and keep talking, but I think everyone else.
Because I do have 8 things I can add to that, but we're not going to do that today. Mastery takes time, guys. You're going to be on here anyway. So there's that fine line of you're on social media anyway, so you don't have an excuse. And we're here for at least that 1,000-day mindset, right? Well, guess what? In your social media land, it just started right now. So congrats. Like, we've got this. We're here. We're going to take the time. We're going to get better at it. No one starts off perfect. It is a muscle. Mastery takes time. And luckily, you have an incredible community that you're a part of. You have a product that works really well. And we have these incredible tools on social media to build businesses anyway. So like, the only reason to not do it is just own it and say, I don't feel like doing it. because that's the choice, and it feels grosser. It's like not making it a priority because you don't feel like it, versus it's work, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know I can, and with time it's going to pay off. It's like anything else. So, okay, I feel like we're good, and I feel like it's time to end this. Otherwise, we will do this for another 30 minutes. So, Mandy, you were absolutely amazing. This was tons of fun, and of course we could talk about this all day, but I feel like y'all got more than enough to not just get started, but really run. So thank you for listening to us yap for however long we've been here. Mandy, you good?
Yep, I'm good. Thank you, Katie. Love you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Same, sister. Bye.